Everybody, and welcome to my channel. So when I was younger, I used to be good at sports. I wanted to do sports professionally when I was a kid, but a lot of adults tell you, that's just a dream. You need to focus on something more realistic, like going and getting a trade or going to post-secondary school so you can get a good career, and not to focus on that. But I mean, my introvertedness always made me scared of even trying to do what it was I wanted to do. So when I was in high school, I played football, and I was always a pretty decent football player. And my coach said he was going to send me to provincials if I wanted to go. So of course I wanted to go, because I wanted to be a professional sports player, either in hockey or in football. So I mean, I wanted to go, but every time I always thought about filling out the paperwork, I would always get so scared. And every time, because we had to go get a physical exam to be able to go, I always got scared and didn't want to continue with it. So I mean, I didn't fight through those fears so that I could go to the provincials when I was in high school. And it's stupid, because I was a good player. And that's the whole reason why my coach was sending me to play, was because I was a good player. But I let my fear stop me, and I didn't even try. And when it came down to the crunch with hockey, and I was told that I had to go get a job if I wanted to continue playing hockey, and I didn't go get a job because thinking about doing a resume and going out and applying for jobs, that used to scare the living crap out of me too. So I mean, I let that stop me from going to get a job, and so I could continue to play hockey by supporting my own hockey with my own money. And that's stupid, because I loved playing hockey and I loved playing football. And if someone would have been there to push me through and to help me out, to get me there, like get me past my fears and get me there, like to the tryouts, I mean, I would have went. And even though I transferred school so much when I was a kid, every single time I used to go to a school, even if it was a school that I had been at before, even though I knew all the kids in that class in that school because I had been there before, every day was when I had my first day, I literally would get so scared and so fearful that I would black out in the morning. And it took me till the afternoon to get to the point where I kind of started feeling a little bit normal, and I really didn't settle in until after an entire week of school. So I used to get huge anxiety every year or every time I changed schools. Even though I knew the kids, even though I had friends there, I still got fearful. And when I went to schools where I didn't know anybody, it was the same thing. I still felt that way. Like, that fear didn't start going away until I started getting into high school. So even in junior high, when I went to a new school that I had never been at and I knew nobody, I got just as nervous as I did every other time I went to a different school as a kid growing up. So that fear has never gone away inside of me. Not until now, as being an adult. I mean, I still get a little anxious, when I'm applying for jobs, going for interviews and stuff. But I've overcome it a lot, and it is way better than what it used to be. I remember when I was a kid, my mom would go out for the evening with her friends. So I was old enough that I would just stay at home with my brother, or my brother would go to a babysitter and I would stay at home by myself. So I remember sometimes she would leave me with money and tell me to order pizza because she didn't have time to cook me supper before she went. There was times that I didn't even order the pizza because I was so scared of making that phone call and asking them to make me a pizza and giving them the address. Like, I had all these thoughts and worries about what could go wrong, the fact that I've never done it before, and even after I had done it a few times, the fear still didn't go away. I remember picking up the phone, dialing the numbers, and then hanging up because I felt myself blacking out. And I mean, I'm sure there was times that I ordered pizza when I didn't even remember the conversation that I had with the person on the other line because I was so afraid and anxious while I was making that phone call. So when I was in high school and I had to fill out this paperwork to go to my football tryouts, and I had to also go to the doctor and get a physical examination. I mean, I wasn't in perfect health, but I was good at playing football. And I let all of that stop me, and I did nothing. And even though people knew that I was supposed to go, knew that I wanted to go, because nobody helped me, I ended up not going. And I can't believe that even from a kid fighting through that fear of ordering pizza, and the fact that I got better and better at it growing up, how I could limit myself and not let myself make it to the football tryouts by being so fearful and by not choosing to overcome those fears. So I mean, that's probably the epitome of the worst fear that you could have when it comes to getting anxious about doing things. And like when I went to DeVry, they forced us to do presentations in every single class that we did. It pretty much didn't even matter if it was a math class. We pretty much had to do a presentation at some point in time during that class. So that really helped me overcome my fears, because I remember blacking out for plays when I was a kid growing up. I remember blacking out for some of these presentations that I did at DeVry. And it was a real challenge. And now here I am doing YouTube videos. So I mean, this is just proof that it does get better. I know I'm putting myself out on the line, and that scares the crap out of me. You know, letting people know some of my innermost thoughts, letting people know how I was when I was younger. You know, putting things out and not knowing how people are going to take it, putting out information, you know, with your face on it, not knowing whether people are going to react good or react bad. But I mean, this is all a part of not having any expectations for the good or for the bad. And no matter what bad thoughts or bad ideas come up into your head about what it is you want to do, you should just go do it anyways. Nothing good is going to happen in your life if you don't fight through those fears and if you don't overcome all those obstacles that get put in your way. I think the obstacles, like me having a speech impediment and me stuttering as a kid and me stuttering in my brain, and then it focusing itself outwards as an outward stutter, was all just a means of me to realize that life is all about overcoming and improving and getting better every single day. If there's days where you're not growing by learning stuff, or you're not trying to improve, like, I mean, there's all these dating courses out there that people can take that teach you how to approach a woman and how to talk to women without being fearful. I mean, if you are so scared to talk to women that you get sweaty and nervous and anxious before you even open up your mouth, it's all because you have an expectation of the conversation. Like, go and get a course It teaches you how to talk to people, or just realize if you don't have any expectations about the conversation, it is not going to cause you any anxiety. The fact that I had expectations about going to my football tryouts because I expected to make the team, and then so the thoughts had come into my head, well, what if I don't make the team? What if I get cut? Because I had never been cut from any hockey team, any football team ever in my life up until that point. And I mean, I had all these fears about, well, what if I don't make it? You know? Now I've been living with the regret of the fact that I didn't even try. And trust me, the regret of not trying is way worse than the fear that you had in the moment that you were supposed to be doing something and then you didn't do it because of the fear. The fear feels bad now, but the regret you're going to have in the future is going to be way worse if you don't fight through the fear right now. So I could have let all of this just be an excuse throughout my entire life to not even try and to not even move forward and learn and become a better person. So because I've been through a lot through my life and I've overcome a lot, when it comes down to other people using their excuses and using some of their handicaps as excuses that I don't even feel are real handicaps because they're things that I've already overcome, or they're things that you can work to overcome. I mean, I've been very negative towards people's excuses because of the fact that I've worked so hard to get over all of my excuses instead of using them as excuses. I am now learning that I can't be so negative about people's excuses, that I need to provide more kind of love and caring towards their problems, because I need to be more sympathetic about what I went through, what it was that I was feeling in the moment. And it did take a lot of work to get through my problems. But any problem that you have, I'm telling you right now, you can get through it. If I can come and do a YouTube video and put my face out on YouTube for the world to see, I mean, the only reason I can do it is because I'm not having any expectations. I have always wanted to teach people the things that I've been learning, because I've always had this epiphany to just teach myself and to learn. And I want to always tell people all the things that I'm learning. So I've been telling family the things that I've been learning. I try to, like, anybody that in my life, like friends or family that I thought might listen, I've been trying to talk to them. But I mean, as you get through life, you realize that not a lot of people, even people in your family, they're not always going to take you super seriously. And it's because they remember you from the time that you were younger, and even though they might not remember a lot of the things that you've went through, they sometimes respect you less than the people that you have only known for the last couple of years. Sometimes you can get people that you've only known for a couple of years to listen to you better than family that you've known your entire life. So I've always felt this lack of not being able to teach anybody and not having anybody listen to me, even though I feel like I got a lot of things to teach, even though I feel like I could help a lot of people. But I've come to the realization that I've just been talking to the wrong people. Talking to people on YouTube and trying to teach people on YouTube, I think, is way better and way more easy than what anybody would think it is, because I'm not going into this with any expectations. I'm basically taking my thoughts, taking the things that I know, taking the things that I want to talk to family about, and all I'm doing is making videos and putting it on YouTube. So I have no expectations of things, of whether my videos are ever going to become popular, but I just want to get my voice out there. I just want to get my thoughts out there. I just want to try to help somebody. Like, I probably should have became a teacher when I was younger, and then that might have got rid of some of this anxiety I've been feeling about wanting to teach people but not having anybody that will listen to me. So maybe that's what I should have done when I was younger, is become a teacher. But I never did, because I always found it kind of negative. Because I know how I treated my teachers, and a lot of my teachers were trying to do better for the kids in society. Like, they cared, they wanted to help, they wanted to teach. So even though maybe they didn't have the things to teach me that I needed them to teach me, they still were there, and they were still caring, and they still wanted to do something. So that's kind of the feeling that I've had. But I know how I treated my teachers, and I created a lot of negativity a lot of times between me and my teachers, and I didn't want that negativity from the kids that I was trying to teach. And with certain kids, it's inevitable that you're going to have interactions like that when you're a teacher, because there's all sorts of personalities with kids that are going to be in your class. You're eventually going to butt heads with somebody, and I found that to be very negative, and I didn't want that negativity in my life, because as you can tell, I've had a lot of negativity in my life, even with just my own inner thoughts and inner feelings, and overcoming that has been a big enough of a chore. So I mean, I haven't wanted to increase the negativity in my life by doing things like being a teacher or being a psychologist and a therapist, you know, trying to help people with all their negative family issues or issues with their friends or issues with them overcoming their inner demons, like what I had to overcome. But I know putting myself out on YouTube, putting my information out on YouTube, there's always going to be trolls that are going to be attacking you. But I mean, that is a different negativity than what you would get as if you were being a therapist, or if you were being a teacher, or if you were being a police officer. Like, that's completely different type of negativity. So this type of negativity I am more willing to deal with now than what I was willing to deal with the other types of negativity when I was younger. So now I'm trying to fulfill my destiny of wanting to teach people the things that I've been learning to help myself. So this is why I have now decided to do these YouTube videos, to put myself out on the line, because I know for myself, when I'm watching videos on YouTube, I myself feel kind of an epiphany with some of the people that go and just put themselves out there. Because I know that it's hard to put yourself out there in real life, let alone out on the internet. So even though those people, when they are putting themselves out there and they're worried about the negative feedback and all that, I myself don't see the things that they're afraid they're going to see by putting themselves out there. So because of that, that means there's going to be people out there that are going to think the same way I do when I see someone putting themselves out on the line, which is not going to be negative. And in fact, it's just going to inspire them more to put themselves more out on the line. And that's what I'm here for. I'm here to want to teach people and show people a better way, help people work through the things that they consider to be negative in their lives, help people work through the problems that they have in their life. And even though I don't really want to be on the stage and I don't want to be the example, I think I can be the example, and I think I can show people that there is a better way than just giving up, or a better way than not putting in the work. Because trust me, it's worth putting in the work. It is hard to go through life with regrets. It is hard to go through life fearing everything all the time. And that is not a way to live. That is not a way you want to live. It is not a way that I wanted to live. That's why I've been putting in the energy to work through it. That's why I want to help people so they can put in the energy so that they can work through their problems themselves. I want you to know and realize that there is nothing to be afraid of. Everything that is going on in your head, all the woulda, coulda, shouldas that your mind is constantly thinking, that is just a way for your ego to get you to not do something. Your ego is a protection mechanism. It is there to protect you from harm and to keep you away from danger. So when you have a perceived idea of there possibly being something that could go wrong in a situation, your ego is trying to protect you from that so that you don't get harmed. That protection was great when we were living in the wild, when there was all sorts of bears and cats that could basically track you down and eat you. But that doesn't really serve us in today's society. We all live in homes away from danger. The animals that would eat us, like bears and cats, they're all living outside, and we are mostly living inside. Now we have cities where most of those animals don't even exist anymore. So I mean, that ego protection that you have of thinking about the worst possible outcome in a situation is no longer advantageous for human beings to have. Like I said, when we were living out in the wild, it was advantageous for us to have an ego, for us to have that ego try to protect us. But now that ego is only hampering us in our growth. It's only hampering us in moving forward in our society. So even though it was there to protect you, even though a lot of times you listen to it and it is hard to not listen to it and push forward, like I said, living with regrets is even harder than pushing through those fears that the ego creates for you. We now need to work towards pushing through all of the fears that the ego puts in front of us. All of the problems being caused in today's society is being caused by everybody's fears. The only reason that negativity is existing in our world the way that it exists right now is because everybody is still feeling fearful. Everybody is still listening to their ego and allowing their ego to make decisions for them. The next evolution in mankind's growth is to overcome the ego. The only battle going on between good and evil in today's society is the fact that we are fighting with ourselves. We are fighting with our egos that are trying to protect us, and we need to realize that since the ego is no longer helping us and is no longer benefiting us, we have a lot less things to be afraid of in today's society. The next step in human evolution is to move away from the ego. The only way that we will have a society that we can all be happy with and that we all want to live in is if we learn to shed our egos, which is all a part of our growing process here in society. And the fact that we don't need our egos anymore, it should be way easier to shed the egos today than what it was to shed the egos in the past. So it's not necessarily all about you shedding all your fears to shed your ego. Sometimes you need to be there to help others do it as well. Since the fight between good and evil is going on inside each one of us, and these fears that we feel from the ego is stopping us from doing the things that we want to do, all of that is reflecting into the outside world right now. So just like I used to have a stutter, and that stutter started inside my head, and then because I was stuttering inside my brain, that stutter manifested in the outside world as me having an external stutter every time I tried talking. So right now we are having a battle inside of each and every one of us between good and evil, because we are having to learn to overcome our fears, to overcome our ego, to no longer let our ego protect us because we no longer need it to protect us, and to fight through all of the negativity that we feel inside of ourselves that are consistent with the ego trying to protect us. Our society is changing. Some people don't want our society to change because they don't know if those changes are going to be good or if those changes are going to be bad. People are afraid of the unknown. The unknown used to scare the crap out of our egos. Our egos used to keep us from going into the unknown by making us afraid. So because of that, because we're moving forward in society, because it is unknown where we are going in society, people are becoming fearful. So all the things that are happening, all the battles that are happening between good and evil, as you would call it right now, in the outside world, is just the outer reflection of what is happening inside each and every one of us. So the battle isn't actually in the outside against other people. The battle is inside all of us. So if we can all work to overcome our own fears, to overcome our own egos inwardly, that will help the reflection outwardly change and become better. Just like as I started working inside my brain with my stutter, I started trying to control my stutter inside myself. The outward reflection of that inward stutter, which was my outward stutter, slowly went away over time. Then once my outward stutter went away, I kept working on my inward stutter, and the inward stutter eventually went away as well. So if we all work inside of ourselves to overcome our fears, to get rid of our egos, then we will be reflecting outside more often the things that we want to see, because then other people will be able to overcome their egos and overcome their own fears more readily as well, just like we did. Sometimes we have to help them, sometimes they're going to figure it out and do it themselves. That is why I am here, because I have gone through a lot of this inward negativity, and I want to let you know that no matter the fact that you feel whether it's hard or easy right now, that doesn't matter. It's something that you need to do. If you don't do it, then the ego is going to take control in the outside world. And we are going to live in a very egotistical world, which means there's going to be more laws, which means there's going to be more inequality, and the only way we can fix our government is by having less laws, but the only way we can have less laws is by everybody taking more personal responsibility for themselves. If we don't take more personal responsibilities for ourselves, then the government is just going to continue passing laws until we live in Nazi Germany. Nazi Germany is not a place where any of us want to go. We all know all the negative things that happened. None of us want to relive that in today's society. We all want that to be a thing of the past. But the only way that we can have all of that be the thing of the past is if we overcome our own fears and our own egos inwardly. Otherwise, Nazi Germany is going to happen again. Because Nazi Germany is the outward reflection of an inward ego. So I hope all of this makes sense. If this doesn't make sense, put a comment and I can try to clarify it in my next video. So I hope you've appreciated this video. I hope you've been able to learn something from this video. And I hope that you're willing to put in the work to make things better for yourself, just like I've put in the work to make things better for myself. Thank you very much for your time and your attention, and I hope you have a great day.